Well, this is pretty exciting. Before I started this video and the camera, I was just able to identify and boil it right down to the very essence of what I teach people. And in regards to what I teach people, is how to build confidence with people, with speaking to people, and how to be confident in life. And it all comes down to managing one feeling. And this is the one feeling that used to trouble me growing up. For the first 15 years of my life, I used to have so much. I used to really find it hard to come to terms with myself and accept myself, because there was so much shame around this feeling. And the feeling is basically a feeling of feeling uncomfortable when you're around people or in any social situation. And the feeling is, it's a combination of things. So it's a feeling of stress. It's a feeling of feeling restricted, feeling tight in your body, in your face, in your words. Your whole body is uncomfortable. So, for example, most of the times when we're on our own, we feel relaxed. We can lay down, watch a movie, or there's no one around. It's like, I can relax now. Well, as a young kid growing up, I got addicted to that feeling. And that's human nature. So, feeling relaxed, we all like feeling relaxed, it's nice. But the problem with that feeling is you can't be successful in that feeling. Success and growing and public speaking and asking someone out and selling and going to a business meeting or making YouTube videos or going on a podcast show or giving a talk to a group of people or going in a boxing ring or singing or entertaining or dancing, all these areas of public performance, they don't exist. They don't exist in the same domain as the relaxed feeling. So the feeling that I used to judge myself for growing up, and I used to shame myself, and I would hate myself for it, and I would despise it, and I would be worried that other people would know that I was feeling this, it's completely normal and acceptable. That when I started to become successful, I realized, I can't believe it. I can't believe what I've done to myself. Talk about regret, talk about turning something that is not negative, that is human nature, that doesn't need a negative label on it. It's like my whole world was turned upside down. So growing up, I was ashamed of feeling fear and anxiety. I was ashamed of feeling uncomfortable, because anytime I felt those feelings, I felt that I was bad, that I was a failure, that I was a disgrace, that everybody else was normal. Nobody else felt that feeling. I was the only one. Of course, as I grew up later on and you get more experience and you meet people and you meet some good people and they're honest with you, and I've been teaching now for almost 11 years, everybody feels that feeling. Some people hide it. Some people lie about that feeling. Some people are open like me, and they are not ashamed of it. They're excited by it. It's the very thing that's changed their life and helped them be successful. I don't know why, but the first name that comes to mind is David Goggins, who constantly talks about that feeling and in such a positive way, and he talks about suffering and it's not going to be comfortable, and you've got to be mentally strong. He's come to the same conclusion and the same realization and truth that I did, and many other teachers. But it still challenges a lot of people. A lot of people are reluctant to admit this and talk about it because they feel like they're weak, but you're not weak. It's all about how you handle it. So, there's many, people ask me, and I like the question, and sometimes it challenges me. They say, what is it you teach? What do you teach? And sometimes it's hard to explain because I don't want to over-explain it and and it confuses people, but I also don't want to downplay it and devalue it because it's life-changing. So effectively, I teach people how to manage fear and anxiety and how to build confidence, not outside of that feeling, but in that feeling. So to answer some of the questions, some people might say, well, I don't want to feel uncomfortable around people forever. That's no way to live. And I'm not, and it's not like that. You're actually going to get to points where you're going to feel comfortable. But to get to that point of feeling comfortable around people or in front of the camera or on a date or, in a boxing ring or whatever you want to achieve, you're not going to get to that place of comfort and confidence and not feeling self-conscious about what other people are thinking about you and feel good about who you are. You're not going to get there without going through that process of feeling very uncomfortable and very self-conscious. You know, it's a feeling that you have to explore, and you change the more you practice in this feeling. And that's how you actually, like, fundamentally, that's how I teach people to build confidence. But again, a lot of people, and I get it, I've done it before, I know it, I know the defense mechanism. A lot of people, they want to get rid of this feeling by reading books. It doesn't exist there. You can't read books as a replacement for the real thing. Or somebody wants someone to tell them, they want some teacher to give them some secret out there, or some video on YouTube. They want to hear something that will just eradicate that feeling, because people don't like feeling uncomfortable, and I was the same to begin with, until I realized the value and how to change my mindset. So example, if I'm doing a YouTube video at any point and I start to feel that feeling inside and I start to feel uncomfortable or self-conscious or uneasy, I can completely sit in that feeling and still teach, still be confident, still be honest, eradicate that voice that says what people are going to think about me and not care, be at peace with myself. If I'm on a first date with someone that I really like and I start feeling that feeling arising in me, of feeling uneasy in my body and uncomfortable and insecure or scared or anxiety, I can sit in that feeling and be completely strong in that feeling, be okay with it, even being okay with the fact that I might not be feeling okay, and still be a gentleman, still be confident, still express myself. I can be at business meeting negotiating with a potential client, and they might ask me the price of my coaching, or it might be a business meeting, and that feeling can arise in me, and that feeling can arise in the other person, and I can feel the person is feeling that we're both feeling. But I can be completely present. I cannot be afraid because I'm afraid, and I cannot panic because I'm panicking inside, and be as calm as I am now and get the job done, do my job, help the person, negotiate, sell, accept the success or accept the rejection, whatever the outcome, I can accept it. If I'm in a situation where, let's say for example, I'm giving a public talk at one of my events, there's a group of people, and that feeling arises in me, it comes up, and I feel this social discomfort, or I feel discomfort, unease, anxiety, tension, stress, paranoia, a very fast, intrusive inner dialogue. I can be calm in that feeling because I've practiced it hundreds and hundreds of times, and I know how to change the meaning of that feeling and change the way that I relate to it, and not fall apart and panic and not be able to speak, or to become someone else, try and put on a mask or act to protect myself. No, I can be myself. But it's years of practice. You know, I've been practicing in this feeling for, okay, how many years? It's getting close to 20 years. I can't believe it. I don't know why I go to say 15. Almost 20 years I've been practicing in this feeling, and it's life-changing. And the 20 years before, I ran from this feeling. That's why I didn't like myself. I didn't like my life. I couldn't make money. I couldn't get a girlfriend. I couldn't change people's lives. I couldn't help them to make money. I couldn't share my story. I couldn't really, I couldn't really have the best relationships with my family, friends, new people. I certainly couldn't do what I'm doing now. I was too afraid, too insecure. Every time I felt that feeling, I ran from it. And my mind was smart. Every area in my life where I knew unconsciously that feeling would be triggered, I wouldn't do it. So I didn't travel. I was afraid of traveling. Recently when I traveled, that feeling did arise in me, not that strong, and I could manage it. I was surprised. I was so calm on the plane. I wasn't scared that the plane was going to crash. I wasn't paranoid. I was more challenged in the airport at the checkout part with showing your passport, checking in, taking out your items. But even then, I was as cool as ice. Experience and knowing what I know and realizing, no, the old me, that was the wrong way to go about it. I was judging myself. It wasn't necessary. I didn't do nothing wrong, and neither did you. It's a normal human emotion, but the problem was Today is a lot more honest. In my generation, when I grew up, no one talked about this. It wasn't appropriate. No one talked about fear, anxiety. None of the school teachers said, if you ever feel uneasy around people, it doesn't make you bad. It's just a feeling that we all feel from time to time, and you can learn to accept it, and you can learn to still connect with people whilst feeling anxiety or unease or tension or just not being able to fully relax and smile and laugh. Man, if I knew this when I was younger, it would have saved me, the first quarter of my life, tragedy and pain and trauma. Maybe that's what I had to go through. So I'm confident that anybody listening to this video, it's going to change your life if you really want to practice this. So, like I said, unfortunately, you cannot learn to be really confident in this feeling without practicing putting yourself in that feeling. So it was feelings. I struggled to deal with my own feelings, my own emotions, my own biochemistry, my own biology. When it got triggered, man, I was like, I wanted the ground to swallow me up. I still remember when I was younger, like my dad would be talking to me, and for whatever reason, I start feeling uneasy. I start feeling like embarrassed, awkward, stiff, and I just would be suffering. Or my mum or my aunties or a party or a new person, especially with new people or on a date, the feeling would be eating me up alive, because not only would I be feeling uncomfortable, but then I would be uncomfortable with the fact that I felt uncomfortable. Then I would be ashamed. Then I'd feel guilty. Then I'd be angry at myself. Then I'd feel like I'm doing something wrong to the other person. I wasn't educated. I was buying into what I think society thinks. So it was really, I wasn't comfortable feeling fear, anxiety, because back then I just thought everybody's normal. They're not feeling what I'm feeling. Why am I scared? Why do I get these feelings? And you get these feelings because you're human and we all feel it. Everybody does. Some people deal with it better than others, as I said, and some people lie. And when I was younger, I believed people that lied. So if I said, I feel a bit nervous about this lesson that's coming up, do you feel nervous? And they'd say, no, I don't know. And I'd be like, what's wrong with me? Or I'm a bit nervous about the football tournament. Do you feel nervous? My legs are they're shaking. No, I don't feel it. They lied. They did feel it. So this is what I teach people. This is what changes your life. And this is the reason why so many people don't change their job and start their business. Now, interestingly enough, when I used to work, before I ran my own business, I did lots of different jobs. I'll do a separate video at some point. Now, if I was in a job and the boss was bullying me, what would happen? That feeling would be coming up in me. I'm scared, I'm intimidated, I don't want confrontation. I didn't know how to speak up for myself and say, excuse me, can you not speak to me like that? You're my boss, yes, but you haven't got a right to talk to me like that. Don't talk to me like that. Or even if I just wanted to say, could I get a pay rise, or could I take a day off? I couldn't communicate, because when I'd feel those feelings around the boss, I'd be afraid of the boss and afraid of the feelings in me. So I'd just go quiet and shut down. It wasn't good. And that's why I didn't, for so many years, people used to say to me, I'd get it all the time. People would say, you're a really good looking guy. Why don't you have a girlfriend? Are you dating anyone? I'd be embarrassed. Be like, no. Why? Because I couldn't ask a woman out. I couldn't ask girls out. Or if they showed me attention, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't act on it. Because the feeling used to dominate me. It used to terrify me and silence me. Make me quit, make me avoid, make me be defensive, make me shut down, make me be afraid to share my opinion. But boy, once I become a master at controlling this feeling, well, now you can see I can speak for England and I can speak for Ireland, because of the confidence, because of the years of practice, and because I really value this. I value this more than money, more than materialistic things, because this has helped me to stay alive, and this has helped me to help so many people in so many different ways. And it comes down to a simple thing, but it can affect every aspect of life. I know I almost, in my 20s, I considered taking my own life, because I was so ashamed that I was not able to handle this feeling. And then obviously years later, it's such a relief when you hear Mike Tyson say, He struggled with this feeling. He had fear, but he learned to manage it and do great things. So once you can manage this feeling, you can do some really great things and really get past trauma and all these things that have happened to all of us growing up that bother us, that bully us, make us feel ashamed. So this is how you overcome social anxiety. Any fear, it's exposure therapy, you know, it's taking action. These are all the significant names for this feeling. I like using the different terminologies to explain it because everybody understands language differently. But yeah, being comfortable, being uncomfortable. That's the description of this feeling. And when you can perform authentically and be yourself whilst in this feeling, you can live your dreams. And it's crazy because not only has my own teaching taught me this, my own experience, all the work that I'd done with Jeff Thompson taught me this teaching again in a different level from his point of view. Amazing. All the boxing I'd done down the gyms, down Fitzroy Lodge, St Pancras, the Stowe Club, what was other gym I used to go to, All Stars. When they throw me in the ring and did the sparring, I had to learn to fight within this feeling. Same thing, public speaking. It's amazing that the truth in this area was the same amongst all the different teachers, when Jeff was teaching me, when I was doing the walks with Jeff and the therapy, when I was going in the boxing ring, same teaching. And obviously what I've been doing for many years with the confidence coaching, the relationship coaching, social anxiety, it's just in different situations, but it's the same. It's learning to manage these feelings and not panic. And the crazy thing is, the more and more you put yourself in situations that invoke this feeling, the more over time the feeling changes from a negative feeling, an uneasy feeling, a scary feeling, to an exciting feeling, to more of a balanced feeling. When I've done interviews before, throughout the time I've been around on YouTube, podcasts, and it's been a while, but I've done them, I used to get that bad dose of adrenaline and anxiety, that feeling when I was going to do an interview, or when the interview started and they were interviewing me. There's a couple of videos of me online. But the more I did it, the easier it got. I remember years ago I was with my cousin and like American self-help guys, they were interviewing me from America online. And I remember before the interview, I think I was in Ealing, and I was really nervous about doing it at the time. I wouldn't be nervous like that now. The feeling was strong, the dose of adrenaline. And then when they asked me, you know, tell us about your story, I could kind of get through it and speak. But now I'd be even more confident because I've got more experience. Same when I started coaching people. This feeling would come up in me, you know, the pressure of coaching other people. I've coached people from all around the world. But because I've been practicing and I enjoy it. It sounds a little bit crazy, but, you know, when people, this might help a lot of you, that's what makes me feel alive. I like beating this feeling because it makes up for the times where I used to feel terrible about myself when I was younger. And this feeling used to dominate me. The feeling used to bully me more than any other person in the world. So once you can control this feeling, change your interpretation of it as a horrible, disgusting, shameful, I shouldn't be feeling this, to, no, I should be feeling this. The reason why you're feeling this is because you're a brave person. You know, you're not going to feel this feeling if you're running from everything, if you're choosing to be a coward. So, you know, the opposite of a coward is someone who's brave, who feels it but deals with it in the best way they can. As I said, it's really weird that it felt for me that so many years this feeling was against me, and it was ruining my life and destroying me and shaming me, making me feel awful about myself. And then the second part of my life, it's like it's my best friend, it's changing my life. Gives me self-esteem. So, you know, I hope a lot of you really understand what it is I teach, and the value is second to none. So, yeah, you know, I really don't understand. I don't understand why they don't teach this in schools. Maybe they do it now. Maybe they do now, sorry, but they didn't when I was younger. And I cannot understand why they don't prepare you for life, because if you can't control your feelings and your emotions and your fears, you can't really gain confidence. You can't really excel in life. You know, you can't be the best person that you can be, and it's hard to give a lot of value to other people, especially in business, or especially in a sport, or in entertainment, or just from day to day, because you're so self-absorbed in, oh, I don't want to feel this, instead of, like, you know, changing your relationship with it. But yeah, I'll be honest, it's really hard at the start. It was hard for me. Most people, they kind of get swallowed and overwhelmed. And I'll end on this video. When I first started boxing and I first started doing the sparring, the feeling was too strong for me, and I just used to freeze up in the ring. And I felt embarrassed. I felt like I was being tortured alive. But of course I wasn't. I suppose that's ego. But through more time and practice, I was able to unstuck myself from that feeling and box and move and not freeze up, basically. So yeah, most people freeze. They, that saying, fight or flight. But with practice and with the right mindset, I was doing a coaching session with one of my clients who was doing a 2-hour business coaching session. He said the most valuable thing he's got from my coaching, amongst many things, is the mindset. The mindset on how to face fear and how to go about thinking about it in a different way. So that's what I wanted to achieve today. And I hope a lot of you can value mastering this feeling the same way that I can and my clients, by going out for yourself and figuring it out, all right? Fearless.